Hello. So I've had the Bobbi Brown highlighter in Petal Glow for about a week now. And I have to say, I can't remember if in my unboxing part of this video, if I had said why I got this, but I really wanted a cooler toned version of Pat McGrath's Iridescent Pink 003. This is my favorite highlighter by far, and what I really love about it is it has a really beautiful sheen to it. So this is not glittery. Instead, it has a really beautiful sheen where you can see the pink flip of it really show up nicely on the skin. And I don't have any issues with the base showing up. Like I don't really have it smoothed out here, but the base doesn't show up on my face, and the texture of the product does not enhance texture on my face. And in fact, it actually, I feel like it minimizes some texture on my face. It looks really nice. And so my only issue with this is, I know you're seeing like the pink flip here, but for some reason when I put it on my face, it goes between this really lovely pink flip and a peachy golden color. And maybe you can see it like right here. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if it's the lighting or if it's the angle of the light, but when I use this on my face, I get, oh, maybe this is it. I get it kind of split between this cool toned pink and this pink, this peachy gold color. It's just not super apparent here. But what I really wanted was having something that had this cool toned pink that flips to purple or blue. So something that is like this, but cool toned, or cooler toned, I should say. And I just have so many issues finding highlighters that have this kind of flip to them and that have this beautiful sheen without any glitter. And so when I saw reviews of this, it was kind of hard to tell in the review. Things subtle like this and texture of highlighters are sometimes really difficult to capture on camera, but I thought that's what this was going to be. And unfortunately, this is kind of the opposite, actually, of what I was looking for. And you can kind of tell, actually, let me pick a little bit more up. You can kind of tell in the texture of this on my finger. Like there's a little bit left of the Pat McGrath one. The Pat McGrath one is very smooth. There's no texture to it. And this one's a little bit more chunky. And that does translate to when I use this. Now, it doesn't look chunky on the skin, but it doesn't really have that much of a sheen. Like it has a little bit of a sheen, but it's not as captivating as the Pat McGrath. And what you are not seeing in the camera, and I'm going to see if I can maybe get this to show up, but in addition to the Bobbi Brown not having much sheen, there's also a lot of glitter sparkle in it, which I really do not like. It would be one thing if I just had to like build up the sheen, but it's kind of another for the highlighter effect of this to be mostly glitter sparkle. And for some reason, it's just not capturing in the camera, which is probably why I thought this was going to be more of a sheen product. So just to be clear, how you're seeing this in the camera on your screen is not how this looks in real life. There is this sheen that is accurate, but there's a lot of loose glitter particles in here. Now they are finely milled glitter particles. They're not super chunky or anything, but they're glittery. And I just don't like that effect. I don't enjoy it. Now, one other thing that I didn't think was going to be as big of an issue as it kind of ended up being was I knew that the Bobbi Brown one wasn't going to have a flip the way that the Pat McGrath one does. This isn't a duochrome. It's not marketed as a duochrome. But it does have like this clear base that when the light catches it, you see more of this. It's really a silvery blue sheen on me. There is a rosy pink base to it, but I don't think it's going to show up on my skin because I already have a lot of pink in my skin, and things have to be pretty pink to show up pink on me sometimes. So on a warmer toned or more muted person, this is going to look more rosy pink and less just blue purple or silvery blue. So this is pretty, but I'm kind of disappointed in it because it didn't really end up being the thing that I wanted. Instead, it's kind of a bit of a glitter bomb. Now, it's a very cosmetically elegant glitter bomb, and in a way, it kind of reminds me of... So I thought this was going to be like a really straightforward comparison, and it's not. But what this kind of reminds me of is a little bit of, what is this called? Astral White. I think it's called Astral White. It's kind of like if you took this formula and toned it down a little bit. Like this is very sparkling, very glittery, and just very, a lot more intense. I would say it's even much more intense than Iridescent Pink. Like you see how that just shines. And you can see, or maybe you can't. Yeah, you can't. I don't know what it is about my lighting. This one has a lot more glitter to it as well, which is actually why I don't use it as a highlighter. Like if I liked the Bobbi Brown as a highlighter, I would actually like Astral White from Pat McGrath even more as a highlighter. But these both have glitter particles in them, and you just cannot see it in this lighting. So if you've used this formula before, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Or if you've seen other people's videos that have like really dramatic lighting, you might be able to see the glitteriness in this a little bit more. But anyway, this reminds me of this formula. Toned down, not as, I mean, there isn't a flip to it, but not as intense, not as chunky. Like this has some, I mean, it doesn't go chunky on the skin, but in terms of like glitter particle size, this has, you know, some significant size to it. Very cosmetically elegant on the skin, but the glitter is very apparent. But again, if you take this formula but have this kind of color scheme to it, so this is kind of a purpley blue. Now this has a base to it. This does not have a clear base. But it's these colors. These colors are more reminiscent of the Bobbi Brown. But the Bobbi Brown has this clear base with glitter in it like Astral White. So I think that's the best way I can think of describing the Bobbi Brown. But again, the Bobbi Brown is so much more subtle, which makes it usable for me because it is subtle, but then in the ways that you can actually see it, you see the glitter more than anything. And I just don't love that. Like if I want glitter, I'm just going to go with Pat McGrath. I have plenty of Pat McGrath's glitters. I don't need a subtle glitter. I guess I just don't really see the point in that. But it's also just not my preference. If you like that, then, you know, you might have liked the Bobbi Brown highlighter in Petal Glow. But part of the reason I wanted to do this review, because I considered just not reviewing it because I don't like this very much, is this is very hard to get your hands on. In fact, as of me doing this part of the review, this has been taken down from the website. This isn't on the highlighter page anymore. So I don't think that you're going to be able to purchase this from Bobbi Brown unless they decide to re-release this. I don't think they're going to do any more restocks. And I was only able to get this on a very brief, very small restock that I was able to catch on the website. And I'll get to that a little bit later because the whole ordering process around this was just, it was not very luxurious, let me say that. But yeah, so I wanted to do this review. So those of you who unfortunately missed out and are maybe feeling a lot of, sadness for not being able to get your hands on this, it's not really as exciting or nice as I thought it would be. So my search for the cool toned version of, or cooler toned version of Pat McGrath's Iridescent Pink 003 will continue on. I already do have a couple of products that are closer to what I wanted. I'm actually really excited to have them, and I'll have them in future videos. I've already filmed part of those videos. Here, I'll actually just go ahead and show you. Here's a sneak peek. So one of the things that I got was Makeup Forever's Artist Highlighter in Bouncy Lilac. And I have to say, I'm not super impressed with the packaging. But I mean, it's not made to like be exciting packaging. But this is it's promising. It's a pressed powder. It's nothing amazing, in my opinion. And I think this has a similar issue to, oh, you can't even see that. This has a similar issue to the Bobbi Brown in that this is a little bit more glittery than I would like. It also seems to have a little bit more of a base to it than I would like, much like this eyeshadow from Pat McGrath. So this has not been my favorite, but I do think it's like a little bit better than the Bobbi Brown in some ways. This is not a very good swatch. You see how this like glows a little bit more? It has like that sheen to it. And I'll have better swatches of this in a later video. But this has a little bit more sheen to it and a bit less glitter, whereas this just doesn't have the sheen that I love, and it has a bit too much glitter, and it's honestly just very subtle. But, and then I'll have a separate video on this. But what I really enjoyed is this from Dior. So this is a very old product. And I think I was able to get this on a secondhand site for just very, not much money. So I figured I would pick it up. I've never had a Dior product before. And this just kind of called to me. I was like, ooh, this looks really nice. Because like you can see that flip in the pan, right? It was very blue. And I didn't have very high expectations for this, but it's kind of blown me away. And I was kind of afraid that the base was going to be too white because it looks pretty white. Like it's very pearlescent, very smooth, but that base is very white. But when I go to put it on, it has a really beautiful sheen to it. And it almost looks like when it catches the light, like it has a bit of a base, but then it becomes totally transparent. And I can't figure out how to do that at this angle with this part of my arm. But this does go completely transparent, but surprisingly, even though this formula is totally different, like this is a little bit squishy almost, and the Pat McGrath's is not. This is kind of like a hard baked formula. This looks most similar to the Pat McGrath Iridescent Pink 003. It has the sheen. It has this really intense flip. And it goes on the skin like this watercolor that's it looks natural, which is fun because these are very unnatural colors to have on the face, but they look like, it kind of just looks like moonlight is on your face, you know, like this one just looks like you have the most beautiful moonlit glow in the middle of the day. And so the way that it blends into your skin and melts into your skin looks very natural. It just doesn't look like it's something sitting on top of your skin. It doesn't add any texture, and kind of like the Pat McGrath, I would argue that this one kind of takes away texture. Whereas all of these, they kind of add some texture. They might be really beautiful in color, but the texture is there, and that's a really big thing for me. So, I'll have a separate video on these and some other things that some of my friends are sending to me because they realized that I like purple highlighters, and they were like, oh wow, do I have some things for you? So we'll have a swatchathon later on with some different products, but let's go back to the Bobbi Brown because I do want to talk about my ordering experience with Bobbi Brown with this specific product. So let's start with the ordering process because first of all, this is not an easy highlighter to get your hands on. I think it sold out pretty quickly once it was available to purchase in the US. Now, I didn't find out about this product until it had already sold out. I saw some people post videos of this, and the way that it showed in their videos was just so beautiful. And now I understand that the way that it actually looks on the skin just wasn't picking up in their videos. But at the time, I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I've been looking for. This looks exactly like a cool tone version of Pat McGrath's Iridescent Pink, and I really wanted it. And so I just kept on refreshing the Bobbi Brown website. I would just visit it every day just to see if there was a restock, and then there was a restock. And I was so excited, and I was even able to get it on sale, which isn't saying very much because I think that this retailed for $56. Here, actually, let me look it up. Yeah, so this particular one has been taken down from the website, but I think they all retail for $56. That's a hefty price for this. Like, this is nice packaging and all, and this is really pretty, but $56 is, it's a lot. That's luxury pricing. And I get that Bobbi Brown positions itself as a luxury brand. But like I said before, this did not feel like a luxury experience. So I was able to get this on a restock. I got this for a little bit off. I think it ended up being somewhere around $45. And, but I was really excited, and I, kept on waiting for it to get shipped. I eventually got notification that it was shipped. And then I just kept open a tab with the tracking number. And I kept on waiting for the tracking number to update. And it just never did. And so a week went by of me checking the tracking number, and it never updated. It never said that it left the facility. And so I reached out to customer service on their chat, and they just refunded me. So once there was a restock, it went out of stock very quickly. So by the time that I reached out to customer service about this the shipping not tracking, all they could really do was refund me. After a week of thinking that I had gotten this and paying for this, I just didn't have it anymore, and that was pretty sad. And I went back to stalking the website and seeing if it came back into stock, and it did come back into stock once more. And at that point, it was no longer on sale. I did reach out to customer service, and they did basically retroactively apply the same sale that I had been able to get before. So I was able to save basically $10. It was annoying to have to do that, but I was really happy that they were willing to honor the sale price. At this point, I was like a little bit less excited because I've kind of had to jump through a few hoops to order this and then get it to ship. And then it finally shipped, and I was still really, I got excited again. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually going to get this product now. And then it arrived, and let me show you what it arrived in. And actually, wait, before that, let me give you context. So on Bobbi Brown's website, they have an option for free gift wrapping. Like if you're going to give this as a gift to someone. And this was a gift to myself, not to anyone else. But, you know, I had some expectations around what the gift wrap should look like, and frankly, what luxury brands should send their products in. And this is what I received. This came in this, this is unpadded. This is an unpadded mailer. And so around, I mean, this product was in its box, and around it was this tissue paper, black tissue paper. And that was it. So of course, when I got the box, it was kind of beaten up. Like it was just dented everywhere and kind of folded in on itself a little bit, because this box is basically the only protection that this had while it was being delivered to me. And, you know, I get e.l.f. products shipped to me all the time like this, and I don't really care because it's e.l.f., you know. But this is a luxury brand, and I had higher expectations for the packaging of this, for the condition that I received this in. And so to get this in an unpadded mailer, just in its box, which is now beaten up, after having to stock the website in order to get this on a restock, and having to negotiate with customer service so that I could get the sale price because the original order never shipped out for some reason. All of this adds up to being a very annoying experience. I did not enjoy this purchasing experience at all. And so when I got this product and finally was able to swatch it, and I found the product was disappointing, you know, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. Everything about this experience has been very lackluster. And again, if we're talking about a lower price point, if we're talking about a non-luxury brand, I wouldn't even have this section of the video. I wouldn't care. But this is a $56 highlighter that I got a little bit of a discount on, that I'm happy about. But that's kind of an insane price for this, while also having my orders kind of go wrong and the shipping basically not protecting the product very well. Overall, I was not happy with the purchasing experience. I'm not happy with this product. It's not a bad product, but it's not what I wanted. And I don't think that there was a way to tell from how they marketed it on the listing page how this was going to be. I really wish that they had this swatched out next to the other Bobbi Brown highlighter shades, because I think I would have been able to see that, unlike their other highlighter shades, this isn't a sheen or a metallic finish. This is a glitter finish. And the one picture that they had showing this, you basically couldn't tell where it had been applied on the person's face. There might have been a picture that was just a close-up of someone's cheek with this on, and it did not show the glitter finish at all. So I feel a little bit misled, and overall I'm just unhappy with the experience. This didn't feel very luxury, but I paid a luxury price point, I think is what I'm trying to get across. So yeah, that'll probably put a damper on me thinking about purchasing from the Bobbi Brown website in the near future. I'll probably, unless something is really going to have to catch my eye for me to put another order with them. And as for this specific product, it's not what I wanted it to be. It's not the cool tone version of this highlighter from Pat McGrath. And honestly, after getting this, I just went on a little bit of a rampage looking at things that could be more of what I thought this was going to be. So you'll see more videos of those in the future. I will definitely be having a swatch-a-thon for all of the different purple blue highlighters that I'm going to get, either secondhand or from Sephora or from some of my friends. So if you are interested in purple blue highlighters, I hope that you will follow along. So let me know if you have any questions about this product. And if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.